Hey everybody, it's Tom Woods, August 7th, 2012. I just wanted to answer very briefly a common argument you get on the internet, from the man on the street, and so on, to the effect that if you libertarians don't like our system and you don't like the rules, and why don't you pack up and leave? You have implicitly agreed to abide by the rules, and so if you don't like them, you might as well scram and all that. Now, I don't think that's a particularly strong argument, but you get it a lot, so I wanted to take it on. Now, my first response, my instinctive response is, why should I leave? Why should I be the one who has to leave? Why is the moral burden on me when, in fact, you're the one with the gun? I'm the peaceful person. You're the one wielding a gun who wants to expropriate me and then use the proceeds to fund drone strikes. It would seem to me that a healthy moral reckoning would have it that you would have to demonstrate your right to do that before I would have to demonstrate my right to sit here unmolested. So that'd be the first point. But then also the idea that my mere presence somewhere indicates my consent to the system is highly problematic. And that is what they're saying. They're saying, you're here after all, so you have to agree to the rules. Just by being here, you've automatically consented to the rules. That's clearly not the case. As my friend Roderick Long puts it, suppose your neighbor starts dumping garbage on your lawn. And you don't move away right away. You stay in that house. Does that mean, the fact that you're staying in the house and you don't immediately move, does that mean that you've consented to the garbage being dumped on your lawn and it should just continue to go on and that would be just? Well, obviously not. And now continuing with some arguments that Roderick has made, which I think are very helpful. He's a professor of philosophy at Auburn. When people talk about my agreeing to abide by the rules, well, the issue is, it depends on the moral status and the legal status of the lawmaker. So, for example, suppose I have you over to my house and you come in the door and I say to you, you have to wear the funny hat. And this may seem odd to you. And I say, but you're in my house. These are the rules. Well, it's an odd rule, but you're in my house. I can make the rules. What you can't do is say, well, I'm going to stay in your house and not wear the funny hat. These are my rules. Now, on the other hand, suppose I come to your house and I knock on your door. And when you come to the door, I say to you, you have to wear the funny hat. Well, then you would have every right in the world to say, now, whoa, wait a minute. When did I agree to wear the funny hat? You would not accept as an explanation, well, you moved in next door to me, so that you were implicitly giving your consent to wearing the hat, even though right to my face you are telling me you don't want to wear the hat. Your implicit mystical consent by moving in the general area of my hat indicated that your consent to the funny hat system. No one would accept that. There's no part of our lives in which we would accept implicit, hypothetical, tacit sort of consent. We would never accept this. As usual, government has its own rules that it abides by, that no one in private life would agree to a system like that. So when people say to you, by being here, you have automatically consented to the rules, they're begging the whole question. They're assuming the very thing that's supposed to be proven. They're totally overlooking the distinction in the funny hat example between the guy who had the right to tell you to wear the funny hat, you could leave if you didn't want to, and the case in which he didn't have the right to tell you to wear the funny hat. It depends on, is he legitimately exercising jurisdiction? Well, over his own property, he is. But over your property, he isn't. Well, you have automatically agreed to abide by the rules crowd just totally ignores the question of, is the lawgiver justly in power? Does he own this property? Did he properly come to exercise this power? None of these moral questions are even considered. They're all just simply ignored and glided over. Then we're told that we use the government systems. I drive on the roads, I use the post office or whatever, and so that means, therefore, I've consented to be expropriated and have the funds used for drone strikes. But here, again, this is a problem. The mere fact that I inescapably use systems that I have services that I have no choice but to use does not indicate consent, any more than the fact that I might eat a meal in prison indicates my consent to imprisonment. No, this whole argument of implicit consent, tacit consent, this is all just a pathetic smokescreen to conceal the fact that my actual words and my actual views are in the form of dissent. And my actual words of, I don't consent to this, are supposed to be somehow overridden by this mystical, tacit consent that I didn't even know I was engaging in by the mere fact of standing in some place. This is This is a ridiculous argument that's advanced by people who simply want to wield power. And then after the fact, they come up with this crummy rationalization to try to make it seem as if I really want to be ruled. I implicitly crave being ruled. I've implicitly consented to being ruled. I don't implicitly do any of this. I explicitly say, no, I do not consent to this. All right, make sure and join me over at libertyclassroom.com, where we are taking a crowbar to lousy and evil arguments. That's libertyclassroom.com. And visit me over at tomwoods.com. Check out where I'm going to be in the coming weeks and months. And also, I'll be making an announcement soon about a Monday through Friday Tom Woods broadcast. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for listening.